We received a lot of requests asking for creating a video about how to create a cutscene or an intro in Unity Engine. And it's all about using the Cinemachine asset in addition to the timeline in Unity Engine. So without any delays, let's recreate the intro you just saw in Unity Engine. This is Ramiz Altabba from Binary Lunar, and let's get started. So let's recreate this intro by creating a new scene. Of course, you will be already having some assets to create a cutscene, because you can't create a cutscene without some assets. I mean, models, sprites, particle effects, music. So after you prepared your scene, then you can make a cutscene, of course. I already made a full tutorial about how to create a glowy, nice star. So if you want to create the same, I advise you to watch that tutorial. I provided the link down in the description. Also, I created this nice particle effect, and there is also a special tutorial for that, how to make your logo dissolve into particles. So let's create a new scene. Right click in the project panel, create scene. Let's name it, okay, new scene. Double click on it to open it. Okay. I want to change the camera background to black. So in the environment, instead of background type skybox, let's choose solid color and make it black. The first thing we need to do, of course, is installing the Cinemachine. So head to the window, Package Manager, open the Unity registry and search for Cinemachine. I have already installed Cinemachine, so I won't install it. Just make sure that you have it installed. The first thing we need to do, of course, when you add the Cinemachine asset is to add the Cinemachine brain to your main camera. So let's add the Cinemachine brain. It will take care of controlling the cameras and swapping between them when you create your first cutscene. Okay, I made the logo as prefab. And as you notice, I removed the crescent from my logo because I found it's a creative or good idea to replace the crescent with the star itself by covering parts of it. So if I drag now the shiny star, as you can see, it's full star, but I added above it a mask sphere to cover portions of it. So it shows only the crescents, exactly like our logo. Here is the mask, you can move it around. It's just black sphere that matches with the background color. We will dissolve our logo into particles, and there is, as I said, a dedicated tutorial how to dissolve your logo into particles. So let's now create what will control the scene. It is the director. So let's create a new game object, name it director, and add to it director. Or no need to add. Let's go to the timeline and click create. If you can't find the timeline, just go to window, sequencing, then choose timeline. Create, click create. There is already a folder named cutscenes. Let's remove the intro from here. Okay, director, create. Inside the cutscenes, we create a folder named cutscenes and we add to it an intro. This is the intro will be, and also can delete this. I'll show you how to re-add it. So we add, right click, animation track. Then we want to start with the logo itself. But first, we're missing something. It's the first camera we want to show. So we need to create Cinemachine virtual camera. Cinemachine uses virtual camera to control cameras and swap between them. So create virtual camera. It will name itself CM virtual camera 1. Let's rename it to start camera. Make the camera -10. or even 12 to make sure that it shows all the game objects in the scene. If the camera is not centered well, you can just move it around to center it. Now go back to the timeline when you select the director, but we need to select the binary lunar logo. There is already an animator component. If it's not, you should add it. So removed, but we should add animator. Okay, now select the director. It's better to lock the timeline on the director so we don't miss it each time. Now we can drag the binary lunar logo, which contains an animator here. If you try to hit recording, because we'll start animating the transparency by hitting recording, then changing the value of the transparency. But there is a Unity known bug here. When you try to click record, you get this error. After researching some, it's well-known Unity bug, and all what you need, they say that you reset the layout. So let's go to layout and set to default layout and click recording. Yeah, now it's working. So if you face that issue, this is how to solve it. So now we are recording. We want to start the scene at the first frame, frame 0. Let's go to the color on the logo and set the alpha to 0. So we don't have logo at the beginning. Then let's go to frame 60 maybe, or 90, and set the alpha back to 255. As you can see, we don't have logo, we have logo. So we learned now how to have an animator on any game object, then animate it using the timeline. Now we will learn another thing, is how to activate game object or deactivate them. Because now, if we start the scene, the particles will automatically emit. So let's disable the particles, and we add here an activation track. We drag the particle game object to the activation track, and we say when we want the particles to be activated. So after showing the logo, we want it to stay on the screen for a couple of seconds, maybe 1 or 2 seconds. Then we want to make it fade out again, and at the same time we want to show the particles. So that feels like making the logo dissolve into particles. Let's try this. So maybe at frame 180, we start the particles, and I want here, if you click again, select the binary lunar logo and hit record again, I want here the transparency to back to 0. So after showing the fading in the logo, we keep it for a couple of seconds, then we fade it out. At the same time, we start the particles. So let me click play and see what we got till now. We see the logo, it fades, particles start, but it's not well synced. I made the logo fade in then fade out immediately, but I didn't give it a time to stay fully visible. So let's go to frame 180 and recover the alpha to maximum. Then we move from frame 180 to 210 to 0 alpha to make it fade out quickly. But since the particle effect needs 1 second to trigger, so let's move the activation 1 second before. That means less 60 frames. We need now to zoom in to make the star in the middle of the screen and have a larger portion, covering a larger portion. We need a second camera, so go to Cinemachine, virtual camera. Let's name it end camera. Simply here we need to transition between two cameras, so we set how the end camera we would like it to be. We would like it to be centered on the shiny star and have a greater zoom on it, and we do then the transitioning using the timeline. And now we will create something called Cinemachine Track that will do the transformation, or the what we can call lerping from the first camera to the second camera. So it says we need a Cinemachine brain, and we already added the Cinemachine brain to the main camera, so drag it here. Then we right click on the track and we add Cinemachine shot. That means the camera we want to start with. As you can see, the first shot doesn't have a camera, so let's click here. It says choose the camera. We want to start camera. That's nice. So after we fade out and the particles nearly disappears from the screen, we want to add another Cinemachine shot, but this time let's say we want the second camera. So as you can see now, if I move the timeline here and to see what is happening in the scene, we transitioned immediately from the first camera to second camera. And here is the power of Cinemachine. If you want to do a nice lerping between two shots, you can simply drag the first camera inside the second camera. So we're doing lerp now from here, this camera, to start from the start camera to the end camera. And that's all the basics you need to create a great cutscene. As you learned, you can use animation track to create animations. You can use the activation track to decide which game object gets activated or deactivated during the cutscene. Then you can use the Cinemachine track to do nice lerping between camera shots. From now on, I'll be fast forwarding till the end of the video, but I'll tell you the plan and what I will do till the end of the video. I will use the animation track to create animation or changing the color from purple to bright yellow, the color of the shiny star. Then I'll use another animation track to move the mask sphere to the right to make the star fully revealed. Also, I will use the activation tracks to enable particle systems and the flames around the star itself. And of course, I enable the post-processing, especially the bloom effect, to create this nice glowy, shiny star. So happy fast forwarding. Finally, we just need to add the music. The music is copyrighted, so probably I will not include it in the project files to be downloaded by Patreons, but I'll just show you how it matches with this intro. I searched a lot to find this music, so I'll just show you how to add the music to the cutscene. So just create a new game object, add audio source to it, and make it play on awake. That's fine. Okay, we need to add an audio track. Then we drag here, let's name it the music, which have an audio source. Drag the music here. And we can simply add an audio clip. So let's first add the logo reveal, cinematic logo reveal. Then all what you need to do is to match the cutscene with the music. So you can make the revealing of the star matches with bass sound or something like that. So it's up to your creativity from now on. I just showed you how to manage all kinds of tracks related to the Cinemachine and the timeline. And just a final note about keeping the game object activated after the cutscene ends. Just make sure that the game object you want to keep active, that the activation track have a frame at the end of the cutscene. So if you want the particles keep emitting, make sure the activation track of the particle game object reaches the last frame in your cutscene. That's all for today's video, and I hope you enjoyed and benefited from it, and looking forward to see some of your cutscenes implemented in your video games. Don't forget to join our Discord server to tell me what you think about this video, or if you have any questions. Also feel free to suggest what is the next video you want to see. Don't forget to smash like, subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss the next tutorial or video. And of course, special thanks to our supporters on Patreon: Kev Triesler, Fuar TS, Shaharbar, Alexis Vix, Dimitri Veseliv, Breadman, Joshua Kratochfeld, Parker Nelson, Giacomo Mariani, Falcon Jazz, Fasle Fever, Pedro Rekjwolski, Jack Crystal and Mohammed Aiden. Thanks for watching. Till next video, see you soon.